Council President Payne.
Thank you, Chair Chavez. I got back in queue because I wanted to bring up a conversation or question that I brought up during our briefing. Out of full transparency, the answer to my question was no, but I'm going to ask it in a public setting. I think it would be a good idea for us to do truth and reconciliation inside the 3rd precinct. And I think we shouldn't lose the fact that we're actually cleaning this site up. This is like a really, it sounds like there's some disagreement, but we should be excited that we are finally cleaning this site up and making it be a presentable part of the city, because it has been a totem to a really horrific period in our time and a reminder of that period every time you drive by, or bike by in my case. But the answer in that briefing was we can't do that, but I would like us to consider how might we be able to do that, even if it were hosting some sessions in the parking lot at that building. I think we need to start bringing people closer to that space, because there's a lot of trauma associated with it, and we're coming at this from that place of trauma. And I think we need a little bit of exposure therapy to help us work through this together. And I think that it would be a really constructive thing for us to, once we get that space at a stable place, to start maybe having some conversations there in the presence of that space. And so you don't have to answer, can we do that? Because the answer was already no in the private briefing, but I wanted to share that in public, because if there's a pathway towards us doing that, I actually think it would be really beneficial, and it would get us to resolving some of these concerns that you're hearing about. I mean, I don't feel comfortable supporting moving forward, just going out and letting people know, hey, we've already decided what we're going to do with this temple of trauma, and it's going to be an early voting center. Don't you love it? I don't know that everybody's going to respond in a really positive way to that. And I think that we need to have a two-way conversation with people where they can actually influence or at least share their perspective with us. And I think it would be really powerful if we actually hosted that in that space.
Council Member Palmisano.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate what Council President Payne just said. And I also have a different perspective that I'd like to share, and it's that I'm all for longer deliberation when we're going to end in a better place. It's now been 4 years since that building has been in use, and I really want to thank Alexander Cato and Director O'Brien for being so patient with us through this entire time. I know sometimes it feels like you aren't getting anywhere, and you are true public servants here. You are truly trying to do what's best for this community, for our city, the whole bit. I guess to my colleagues, I don't see how you can continue to delay this another minute. I respectfully disagree with my colleagues because it is a false narrative to presume that the city is going to take an intact public building and not put it to a specific public use. It would be false community engagement that would be both misleading and bring us no further to that one single thing that we do all agree on here. That one single thing we all agree on is that we need this corner to move forward and to put it into productive use. There's a sequencing dispute as to how we go about doing that, but we all agree on that. We don't have 13 mini cities in Minneapolis. We have 13 wards that comprise one city. So in it, we are not ward bosses. None of us were elected with any kind of mandate to make decisions that impact the entire city. We were all elected by a geography to make decisions not best for our own wards, but rather best for the city as a whole. That's how I approach every one of my decisions and have for the past 10 years. It is really disturbing the turfdom that keeps propagating in this chamber. And Councilmember Jenkins made a really good point and also made me realize that the most citywide community use of this space probably would be a voter center. The point is, this is a public building that is supposed to benefit the entire city. And elections is certainly one way to do that. And a very large community space feels particularly sensitive to the more immediate surrounding community, one that we should get feedback on, not some new buyer of disposed property. Over the past 2 years, some of my colleagues have made it clear that they want community engagement, and now it's happening. Now it is happening. You've made this change with your advocacy these past couple of years. So I urge us to allow this community engagement to happen and to socialize this public use in a public building. If instead, as a council, as a majority of this council, we are really looking to dispose of this property, there's a process for that, but frankly, it should have started years ago. Thank you.